moose soup, I prepared butter because that is important with Sailor Boy Pilot bread crackers. This is a must in a native household. It's very popular in Alaska. And Lee and Barron's, I love putting it in my moose soup. It reminds me of my childhood. Lee and Barron's. And this Italian mix, I recently started loving this, and I thought it would pair well with the moose soup as a side dish. This Italian mix reminds me of my sister, my cousin's dad, and my dad. I didn't know I was missing out until recently, and I always loved sweet banana peppers. Mild sweet banana peppers. They remind me of my sister and my mom, and also my sister-in-law because she likes sweet banana peppers. Anyways, I show you what we would pair them with, and now I am opening up the Ziploc full of moose meat and bones. I bought this from a well-known person back home. My daughter has been craving moose meat, and my family hasn't had moose meat in so long. This was a treat, and it was such a delicacy. Moose meat has a lot of good nutrition and a lot of good benefits. Moose meat has protein and iron, vitamin B12, niacin, B3, collagen, and the moose tallow helps reduce inflammation and enhance immune function. Moose meat is relatively low in fat and saturated fat compared to other meats, including ground beef. And I would rather much prefer moose meat than caribou meat. I just like the taste better than caribou, but I add Worcestershire sauce and some garlic salt. You all know that I can't go without garlic salt in my household, and this garlic salt is by Lori's. Lori's. And I love garlic. I had to add some minced garlic. I add a generous amount into the dish. And ever since we moved to our new apartment, I have been using a water filter. So I added filtered water into the pot for the broth. Unlike other meats like chicken, etc., we don't need to boil until clean and then dump it out. With the moose meat or caribou, we can just keep the broth that was already cooking because it's really clean. And I show you the elbow noodles that I will add at the end because those are the last to cook. They only cook for 10 minutes. Anyways, I closed the moose soup, and then I forgot to add the big bone. Usually in native households, they will give the bones and the bone marrows to the men of the household. And that's what I will do. I will give this big bone to my husband and have them have the moose tallow, but the men do share the moose tallow. Or not the moose tallow, excuse me, the bone marrow. And this is why I wanted plain salt, is because I wanted to add it to the moose soup. I love my moose soup plain and simple. I just add a good amount is simple but interesting, and it makes it yummy, yummy, yummy. And I went ahead and added red onions. You could add any kind of onions that you want, but I just had red onions in the cabinet. So that's what I used in this dish. I went ahead and chopped them finely. I chopped them into diced sized pieces, as you see here. And I made sure that I missed nothing. I wanted them chopped, diced. After I diced the onions, I put them aside. And the potatoes and the onions will be second to the last. And I just play with it here, as you can see, because it doesn't feel right if I don't touch it or I don't stir the pot. Because it is filled to the brim. Doesn't that look delicious? I love the gristle. I love the gristle in moose meat. And I love to buguk the bone. That is a big word. Buguk, where you eat everything to the bone. As my soup was boiling, I usually boil it for an hour and 30 minutes. But while that was boiling, I went ahead and I cubed my potatoes into the size that I prefer. I wanted them diced into cubes, as you see here. I wanted everything to be bite-sized. So I'm just cutting up, dicing up the potatoes into cubes. After I was done cubing the potatoes, I put them aside so I could add them later. I wanted to add more. No, I didn't want to add more. I had to take out the bone so there can be room to add the potatoes and the onions and the rice and the elbow noodles. So I went ahead and put this into the bowl, and this is going to be my husband's. After it was done boiling, I went ahead and put the big bone with the gristle and the meat and the bone marrow aside for my husband. And then I stirred the pot afterwards. After I stirred the pot, I made it boil for a little while. Also, I put more filtered water, and I waited for that to boil. After it was boiling for a while, I went ahead and added the potatoes and the onions. This is just so satisfying and very, very wholesome, nutritious, and fulfilling. It's a major comfort food in a native household is moose soup. Any kind of soup for that matter. We love moose soup and caribou soup, etc. In a native household, our main dishes is soup. Duck soup, rabbit soup, moose soup, caribou soup, porcupine soup, fish soup, a lot of soup. And after my onions and my potatoes were done boiling, I went ahead and added the elbow noodles at the end always used to dish all her kids all the time, even if they have grown. In our village, we had a neighborhood where it was the majority of my grandma's kids. She had 12 kids, and we had a neighborhood full of her kids, and they would all come to grandma's house. We called it grandma's house, and she would dish 12 of her kids and also, her grandkids. And she used to dish like a table full of dishes where they can choose what they wanted. And I think that's where I get it from. I love dishing all my family, from my husband to my kids, especially when I am the one who cooked. After I dished my husband, I dished my kids, and then I prepared crackers for my family because I wanted them to enjoy. And I put butter. I grew up putting butter on my crackers with soups. So yeah, I put all of the crackers with butter and pepper. Anyways, that was my cooking video. Moose soup.